Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How about you?
Yes. Yes, going way back. OG.
I don't like the new stuff
No.
So
at all. This Kendrick Lamar guy, I can't get into it. I know a lot of people really dig him, but yes.
I don't know. I'm mostly church music these days.
Are we recording?
We are
Okay.
recording.
Right. Okay, here we are. Here we are.
Okay. Gonna jump in?
Go for it.
We're doing origins?
Welcome. We're doing origin stories. How did we get here?
Start again. I'm moving around like a right. All right, here we go.
It's all part of the experience. Do you like the ASMR, everybody? Do you know what that is?
No,
Mm-hmm.
is that some fancy tech talk?
ASMR is when you do like this.
Okay. This still sounds.
Yes. It's like a trending thing now.
You don't know about this?
No, what am I supposed to? What is this?
ASMR. I don't know what the acronym stands for. Do you remember?
People,
Automatic auto stimulator. Some experts listening to this going, "You guys are idiots." ASMR is like when you rustle a bag of chips so they can hear like the crinkling.
different sounds, different.
Or yeah, or it's like tink tink tink. They're mixing a drink.
Oh, and so you do that on purpose?
On purpose. It annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do it extra? It sounds inauthentic.
But
Trying too hard.
I'm trying too hard.
All right, which I get it. Okay. Okay, let's kick this beast off.
Okay. So let's just press play. Do you want to do the intro this time?
Intro for the
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Big Ideas, the podcast with your hosts, Justin, Jessica, and moi. That'd be Mark.
And this is our origin story episode where we're going to talk about where each one of us came from. I know you want to hear more of me.
I do. I just.
I know.
Yeah,
I get you.
I don't need you to yell when I listen to this on headphones.
You know, all my life people have been telling me you're too loud, you're too much.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You just triggered her.
Man.
Sorry. Sorry, Jessica.
I forgive.
Thank you.
I forgive you.
Thank you. It came from a place of love.
I'm sure it did.
They say that back then too.
Oh man.
Anyhow, this is the first episode, and we want to give you guys a little backstory of how in the world did we get here, and tell you a little bit about each one of us. So, Justin, you want to
kick it off?
Tell us, give us I think everybody should have 3 stories. They should have a 15-minute life story, then they should have a 3-minute version of their life story, and then a 10-second elevator pitch. So why don't you give us the 3-minute version of your life's story?
Okay. Here we go. I was born in Denver, Colorado. At a very young age, my mom and father divorced. My mom ended up back here in Missouri, where I really did spent most of my formative years. I've been here since, pretty much. Grade school, college, all that stuff. And let's see, I'm going to drop in some details that are all pertinent as we go along on this journey, just so people understand kind of who I am, where I came from, and some of the challenges. And this isn't we are on a sofa, but it's not like a trauma dump or anything like that. It's just things that I'll address. So,
yeah.
So then my mom remarried to a very, very great man who's still in my life, fortunately. Named Bill, taught me how to sail, taught me drums. Been a really good dad. Blessed to still have him in my life. And went to a rural school where I played sports. I was big into education and learning, big into music. Started playing music when I was about 6. My mom would say she's responsible for my drumming because she said she pulled pots and pans out when I was 2 and would be in wooden spoons and stuff. And so music has been in my bones, I think, since I showed up on the planet, and got into sports and stuff when I was young. And the 2 things I do now, which is music and wellness primarily, both really took took on even more importance and meaning to me around age 13. My mom and Bill went through a divorce, and I was a really awkward, like ugly duckling childhood, junior high, started to get interested in girls, but had acne everywhere, was not a big guy, and was frustrated, just things when parents get divorced and life changes and things like that, and you're already like super awkward because you're all those things I mentioned, hormones going crazy and going from sixth grade to seventh. And um, one day my mom showed up with a weight set, and she's like, "Hey, you need a place to channel your aggression, and this might be good for you." And of course, drumming helped. So I got really immersed into learning how to use nutrition and fitness to kind of, I don't know, transmute a lot of angst and stuff. And then also build myself up to play sports better, play drums better, things like that. I got really, really passionate and interested at age 13 with that, and turned up the music interest even more as well. I just spent a lot of time studying fitness, nutrition, studying music. And that took me kind of through junior high and high school. Graduated with a full ride to a local university with music and academics, and ended up from there. Actually stopped school a little bit shy. There's a whole other reason for all that, but from there got really kind of kept the scholarships, kept the education going till about age 19, and had an opportunity to go out and start doing more music, kind of at a more professional level, and had to make like a major decision. A lot of my family had really gone more the traditional route, get the degree and head down certain paths, and it just wasn't really for me. I was really again into like this fitness thing and music, and wasn't really sure what school was going to do anyway. I didn't really think I was a 9 to 5 guy. I kind of tried that corporate thing a little bit later. Um, but basically, uh, most of my life I've done music and fitness. I was a personal trainer in my 20s. I ran med clinics in my 30s. That parlayed into what I do now, which as a human optimization coach is kind of everything. It's a combination of everything I've done, a culmination rather. So hormones, gut health, fitness, nutrition, the mental, emotional, spiritual side of that journey as well. So I've kind of really done that the last 20 plus years, kind of through the week, as a way to make money while I was trying to pursue music on the weekends. Fortunately, have been in a couple different projects, one in particular that did really well for quite a while. That band as a business is still going. Also, throughout that time, I've always kind of been an entrepreneur. I've started 8 businesses.
Wow.
Some of them have succeeded, some of them have not. And that brings us to right now. I guess another thing I should mention is I've always lived kind of as a minimalist. I've lived in some really strangely small places. Like I was talking with some friends this weekend. I lived in a gymnasium for a while at the university. I lived in a call center, kind of turned a call center in one of the clinics we had to save money. I turned this call center into a makeshift home. um, and then I lived actually like in a 600 square foot, 5 to 600 square foot studio apartment above a 3 car garage on my aunt and uncle's property for 13 years. It just the pursuit of business and those ideas and music and mental, physical, spiritual wellness was always ahead for me of material things. And sometimes I was able to have both, but oftentimes to take the risks that I've taken. Um, as you know, with business and things, I just had to live light. And I'm also like big into the environment and how we treat the planet and each other. And so I recycle everything, and living small helped me keep a smaller footprint as well. No judgment, to people that can't do that, but has been my choice. So is that pretty good?
I love it.
That's
And
great.
watch my laptop. Watch my laptop.
Yep.
So one thing I think that is really cool about what you do is that you have purposefully lived a minimalist life, right? So when you think about that, how is that freed up bandwidth? Can you talk a little bit about the minimalist life and how easy it is decision making becomes when you don't have a lot of stuff in the way?
I think it was essential for where I was being led with my mind and my heart, the things that I wanted to pursue, and the fact that, again, you do have to take risk. You have to take financial risk, and living light, keeping lower expenses allows you to take those risks. And I have definitely had my butt handed to me financially, taking risks on some of these businesses. And so it's been a necessity at times because there was no other choice than to live light because that's all I could afford. But then also when things were really going well, um, it does free up a ton of mental bandwidth. You just have less stuff to take care of. I love when people, if they want to go buy homes or whatever, but like I literally at times, if I'm running a business through the week and I'm playing music and touring the country on the weekends, I didn't have time to take care of a home or mow the lawn. Or I grew up on a farm, with a lot of pets and a lot of land and a lot of stuff to do, and I love that lifestyle too. But that's the other thing, is I haven't had pets for a long time just because I haven't had been able to manage taking care of pets and things. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, for sure. And you've worked with some pretty cool people. That lifestyle has allowed you to pick up and go and be adaptable, and you've got pretty cool credentials behind your name too, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've done all right. It hasn't come without a lot of sacrifice. I'm obviously older now, and if I do meet a woman that I've been fortunate enough to be with some amazing women. Have some really amazing relationships with just super world class women. But I guess because of the timing and possible the lifestyle, which takes a lot of understanding when you're trying to build businesses, and you're gone a lot for music. Um, it's come with some challenges emotionally, and there's been times of loneliness, and definitely having to go against sort of the traditional grain, and people being like, "Hey, what's wrong with you, man? Like, why are you not married? You don't have kids?" And um, I've had to make some really tough choices to forego one path for another at times, and maybe from the outside perspective, if people don't sit down and get to know me, they think, "Oh, that's irresponsible," or "That's been easy," or "That's whatever." But to pursue what your heart wants you to go for, and to give up other things that you really love or people that you really love, is can be pretty brutal. I just felt like I didn't have a choice. I feel like life's short, and I've needed to pursue these things to be as whole of a person as I want, and to be able to bring things to the planet that and people that I want to do. So yeah.
And you've worked with Olympians, trained, right?
I worked with a physical therapist on a business that trained Olympic runners. So yes, and we had some people on our board that were Olympians, previous Olympians. Yeah, all kinds of people from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, moms, dads, athletes, young people, older people. Yeah.
And what do you think is the consistent thread that runs through them, that everybody needs this because it's like the same thing all the way across the board?
It's what I'm searching most for, which is connection. That's connection to, first and foremost, yourself, and in simultaneously, I think it's kind of twofold, and it has to happen in parallel, and that's with yourself, and with, if you believe in something higher. I believe in God. I have different names for that. I don't want to get in, like, I just believe in something greater than myself, and I know that's not for everybody, and that's okay. I'm not trying to be divisive about any of it, but I think that connection, with yourself and with your creator, if you're into that. And a lot of people come to me because they've lost their mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual bandwidth. And so I start to rebuild the foundation with all of those things.
That's right.
Yeah.
Justin, why at this stage and age in your life where have you decided to pack it all up, sell it off?
Ask him. Okay, last question for you. What's your big idea? And that'll lay him up for my big idea is to
Okay.
Yeah.
reconnect the planet.
So, Justin, what's your big idea?
I have seen this strain, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like I'm hearing this from other people as well. I've seen this declined a little bit in, again, that connection with people, with themselves, but also that connection with each other. When I first, 20 some years ago, started to go out and play music professionally, there was technology, there was cell phones and stuff like that, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now. And it seemed like people would come out to really connect with each other. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you, and there was this energetic reciprocity between people, and then especially between the people and the musicians, because it's a super vulnerable thing. I mean, to be an artist of any kind. And it's so strange to me. Artists get so scrutinized and oftentimes judged until they make it, like, oh, you need to get a real job, or you need to grow up, or you need to, and then they make it, and then they're like, oh my gosh, then they're really, wow. And
Revered.
so exactly. So in the meantime, though, when you are trying to make it, or you're trying to share your love and your craft, you're working so hard all those off hours, and so you really want to bring your feelings to people. And I've seen a decline in that, and I don't know if it's technology and cell phones and social media and all the things we're struggling with, but I've seen an increase in depression and anxiety and all these things, I think, related to the lack of connection that I've seen both in my coaching and in music. And so I've always wanted to travel, but there's always been a relationship or a business endeavor I'm working on, or a band, that I'm in. And this window of opportunity opened up at this point in my life. And I feel like if I don't take it, I may never get the chance to take it. And I am going to sell everything I own. I'm in the process of selling everything I own, except for what I can fit in a backpack on my back. And I'm going to immerse myself in cultures around the world to figure out how they connect, through spiritual practices, through health and wellness tools and tricks that maybe we don't have access to, or maybe we don't know about, or maybe that we've forgotten, how they handle relationships around food and cuisine and art and music and things like that. I want to inspire myself and inspire others by finding out how human beings are connecting out there, and see if I can maybe help connect us a little bit better.
So why not just read a book about how they connect?
Or why not write a book through experience?
Good answer. Touche.
I have to go find out for myself. Like I love to read, but this is, and it's like super scary. I mean, there's been moments this last couple of months in preparation for this that I've been like, are you crazy, bro? Like, and I've been at times maybe the most emotionally distraught and overwhelmed than I've maybe ever been, even starting different businesses and relationships and bands. Um, and there's something guiding me or leading me beyond me. I don't know if it's my soul or if it's God or what it is, but it's like, I have to do it. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I'm hopeful and asking for prayers and, guidance and everything. And I may fall on my face out there, literally, figuratively, whatever, but I just have to go see how this is going to shake out. I can't read a book or learn about it any other way than put myself in the position.
What's falling on your face look like?
Oh man.
What could, I mean,
Yeah, really?
What do you,
Yeah. What if I run through my money? What if I can't make money? What if what if I get injured? What if I get lost? What if I don't find what I'm looking for? What if I suck at this whole thing?
Are those like falling on your face, or are those learning experiences?
I guess
fails or any of that stuff.
I guess that's a good point.
Because I remember, when you came in that day and we were all just meeting to have a chit chat about a completely unrelated business opportunity, right? And you were like right on the edge of kind of discovering that. And we kind of pushed you over the edge, didn't we?
I came in needing some advice, and I was thinking I was just going to relocate maybe somewhere else in the country or the town. And I can't even remember what I said. I think I flippantly mentioned that maybe it'd be just as easy to sell everything and go travel for a while. And I think that's how it went down.
Yeah, I think I remember saying something like, or you could just always go to the beach in Bali or something like that, and next thing you know.
And like a couple hours later, with definitely some super emotional moments, here we are with I'm selling everything and going to do this, and we're launching a podcast together about.
I remember.
Okay, go.
I remember like this. We had a big idea. And the big idea was this building where we're at, that we're doing this recording from today. We were going to turn this building together into a venue. And we've been talking about this for a couple months. And I came in that day on that meeting with an idea of how I thought it was going to be best for us to maybe shelve that idea for the time being. But first, I asked you both how you were doing. And Jessica, you talked about how you were doing that day. There was some various things going on, and it was like it was things outside of this project. But we came here devoted to talk about that project. We were going to figure this thing out. And then Justin, we asked you how you were doing, and you were pretty distraught. It was probably the lowest I'd ever seen you, because it was you had gotten news about one more thing that was a disappointment to you, and so I think in friend fashion we just started to talk it through with you, like, what's going on, like, tell us more, what are your options. And you started to talk about different places you thought you could live in the country, and a few of those towns. And I was treating this portion of it very selfishly. Like, I knew where I wanted you to live, because there were places I liked. So it was like Boston, possibly Colorado. But we were both looking for places where there might be a film industry and you could act and do various things. And those all seemed like, okay, you're probably going to move, is where we got to at that point. And then I think it was Jessica that said something along the lines of, well, why stop there? It was kind of the essence of it. Why limit yourself is kind of where the conversation was going. Like, we need to start thinking bigger, big ideas here. And before we knew it, it was like, it's a big world out there. Why limit yourself? And what's actually keeping you here? And before we knew it, it was, we thought it was a good idea for you to sell all your possessions, because the fact was and is that, like you said, you're not in a relationship. You hadn't been in a relationship since your last big relationship. You have no children. And in this case, the news that you got was you were going to have to move from the home that you lived in for 13 years. Career-wise, there were some frustrations with your career. And ultimately, there was nothing really holding you here. And I think there was some disappointments with some relationships, all of it. It was just, you had reached the pinnacle here. This was the climax of feeling, I think, a little lost. And we said, this is an opportunity, and you should go and explore. You should go and journey. Go find your bliss. Do
Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, Eat, Pray, Love. Joseph Campbell. Hero's Journey. Go find it. And by golly, you did it and are doing it.
You carpe diem, seize the day.
Yeah, you carpe that thing out of you. Yeah,
you guys helped me carpe it.
I think what was, if I may be so bold, is when we do have a big idea, I think we'll talk ourselves out of it faster than anybody. But it's a true sign of friendship when somebody comes along and whispers truth back to you, when you might have forgotten it. And I think that, not that you needed our permission, but the voluntary permission to be bold I think we all need that.
Yeah.
We all need someone to go, in case you were looking for permission granted, go do your thing.
Right.
Because we're all kind of beholden to somebody in relationships, and knowing that you would be fully loved and fully supported and fully believed in emboldens us to make big, brave decisions. Yeah.
And so it didn't stop there.
100%, yeah.
We had that talk and didn't have it. Well, I think we pretty much completely fleshed it out.
We did, because I remember your face sitting in that chair over there, and you were like, is this how things go down? Like, is this really happening? Did we really do that? And I think you and I are a little more impulsive when it comes to like
getting other people to do things that
well,
we would
when
never
we like
dream.
have an idea, we can see like the beginning, middle, and end like pretty seamlessly. Like the details are not there, but like the whole idea is.
Well, here's the what happened in that moment for me was I hadn't spoken yet. I didn't talk about what I had come in to talk about.
That's right.
So after you had talked, and there was that you were experiencing some pressure as well. So there were some stresses, and then of course there was you and this, and it made it a lot easier. The clarity came in very quickly for me, which was okay. Here's what I came in to talk about today. Here's what I was going to present, and it aligned with this thing, which was I think, given this and these other things that we have that are much more important than turning this into a venue, why don't we shelve that for a while? This thing will take time. It's going to take a lot more time than we had originally sort of thought.
For sure.
We're three ambitious people, and we're go-getters, and we're A-types, and work hard, and we're going to make this happen. We're going to make it happen really soon. But the reality was, it was much bigger than that. And so I said, let's shelve that. And then within a moment, and this was a big idea for us, folks. Like it remains a big idea. The whole point of this podcast is we have big ideas. We often wake up in the morning and have 100 big ideas before breakfast is what we joke about. And so this remains a big idea, and I'm not letting it go. This building is still going to become something, or another building is going to become something, and it's that idea, it's that concept, which we can that one we're going to hold on to. But within a moment, we thought, well, we have to somehow journey with you. So we need to do a podcast. We need to document this, because we had come into this meeting, and like we often, every time we come together, we're just riffing off of each other. We talk and we put out what's going on in our lives, and we're helping each other and serving each other. And in the midst of all that, we're always coming up with a new bright idea, a new big idea.
Or solving problems.
And solving problems.
I have a big idea for you. How about you do this?
Right.
And,
yeah. The big ideas are solving problems is what we would often be doing for each other. Like, hey, we got you. We'll figure this out together. Mm-hmm. And so, and that one is enthusiastic. And the other part of this too is, this is a group of three. I met Jessica through Justin just a year and a half ago. Justin has had a relationship with Jessica for a long time. But the moment I met Jessica, my love language is when I feel intimate with somebody, I want to go into business with them. I want to do something.
Let's make money together.
Enterprising. Yeah, like we're smart and we vibe and we trust each other. And let's imagine if we turn that into an enterprising thing. And so Justin and I have talked for years about what can we do together? We have done some business together. Mm-hmm. And then it was like Jessica and I were thinking, what can we do together? There's going to be something we do together. We're going to write a book together someday or something. We're going to do something together. And that's still true. And then we started to talk about, but is there something that the three of us could do together? Because the whole venue idea was something that Jessica and I talked about at one point. Just in this very space, Justin and I got to a moment where it was like an epiphany. It was like, oh, we have to do that. Mm-hmm. We have to do that. And so then we had this thing that the three of us were going to be able to do together. And I didn't want to let go of that. I didn't come into the room that day thinking I didn't want to do something with you guys. It just wasn't that thing. So what is the thing? And I don't think it came from anybody other than a podcast. We're going to do a podcast together because we talk. That what happens here if we put a record on when we were in here, that would be amazing. I think that would be magical. People would appreciate that. You'll have to let us know if you appreciate this. I hope we're interesting.
And
anyway,
for me, the thing that I loved about being together was that we got to, we do a good job sounding off of each other and sharing ideas. And like I said, I've said this before, I come up with 100 ideas before breakfast, and we talked about that. And my mind is always rolling, and I love creatively solving problems. In fact, when I realized that I didn't have to act on every good idea, but I could creatively solve problems for other people.
Right.
I turned it into a business,
Right.
And so big ideas is like something that I love to do, is dream big and help people create what they wish existed in all areas of life, from business to their relationships. So to be able to collaborate with you two on what you're seeing all around the world, right? And then to collaborate with you here on the home front, but from three very different walks of life. I look forward to the synergy of that, and just being someone like holding space for big ideas, big, brave, bold, audacious ideas, that maybe other people listening don't feel as displaced with their own big ideas. That dreaming big and thinking big and doing big, and holding that authentic sharing space for what it's like to be someone who lives with a lot of big ideas.
Right.
I think would be encouraging to others. And if nothing else, it's just posterity. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Of
posterity.
Posterity of just documenting the journey.
Yeah. Well, and we also came to the decision that for as rapidly and as prolifically as these big ideas come to us, we thought we can't possibly do them all. In fact, there's probably most of them we're not going to be able to do, but they're still good ideas. They're big ideas, and they're good ideas. And that's what's going to happen in this podcast is we're going to share these with you all. And
maybe you take them and run with them.
We're going to put them out there into the universe and not be selfish, not be greedy with them, but to say, hey, if you're stuck, if you don't know what to do with your life, let us do what we did to Justin and get him to.
Here's a big idea. Who wants to run with it?
Exactly. So if you're game, stick around, keep listening. I'm sure we're going to give some pearls and some nuggets that you'll want to pick up on. But Jessica, I want to hear about your origin story.
My origin story.
Tell us about you.
All right. Well, I was born in Scotland.
What?
Yes.
Speaking internationally.
Yes, I was born in Scotland, and my dad was a preacher. My parents did church planting work over there. So oftentimes I get asked, are you military? But no, we were missionary kids. And I lived,
The other end?
The other end, yes. And I lived in Scotland till I was 12. So a lot of like social, cultural things that people talk about from their childhood, I don't really relate because I had a different cultural experience growing up. So like the whole Leave It to Beaver and, the Brady Bunch, like all of those completely lost on me. I don't understand any of them. So, I mean, I've like watched them since because obviously they're American culture, but that was not something that I knew anything about coming here to the States. And I used to say like we moved back to the States because that's what I heard my parents say, but that was the first time for me I moved to the States. I'd never lived here before. So that was when I was 12, and we moved here. And then we went and worked with churches in different places. So we lived in Florida for a while, working with a church down there. And then I was homeschooled through high school. So that was way back in the day. No offense, Mom. But that was before they documented like homeschool curriculum and graduations from that. So I don't have like a high school diploma or anything. So I have a very diverse educational background. But when I went to college, I was like, hey, I want to go to college. And they were like, well, what did you do for, like, what is your educational experience? And we kind of charted out some classes that we'd had at home, but ultimately it just came down to taking a college placement. So I jokingly say I graduated from college, but I never graduated from high school. So there was no formal documentation of that. But it gave me a really diverse background in learning and how to have experiential learning versus book knowledge. And so I would say that I'm very like street smart, if that's the word. And I don't mean like gangster street smart. But, I know my way around the kitchen and how to take care of kids and, how to change the oil and pull a transmission, those kind of things in life. And being resourceful with what you have and turning what you have into enough is a huge part of being adaptable growing up and learning different things. So faith has been a core part of everything that I do in my life. Just part of my persona, and something that we'll talk about is growing up in that fishbowl and what that's like, and learning how, or getting stuck, I guess, maybe in creating different versions of you, not being dishonest, but understanding that there are some just expectations that come with the roles and relationships that you have in life. And that transparency. And so I met my husband, Josh, when I was 16. He was 17. We met at church camp. And we have 3 kids together. We didn't date right away. We're just friends, but I was married a month before my 21st birthday. So we've been married for 22 years now. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of, we've raised each other essentially. We've grown up together and learned what it's like to grow with someone while maintaining your autonomy. I think it's been a huge part of being married that long and that young, is that you're still forming your own sense of identity. And what does it look like to create the two shall become one without losing your individuality? That's something that we've navigated. And so we have 3 boys together, and they're all colorblind. So
that's a random fact.
And I tell them that they were literally born to see the world differently, so don't ever apologize for it. And that is something that's really important in our family, is to honor the unique individual way that each person sees the world. So I look forward to talking about that, what mommy life is like. They say, I don't know if you knew this, but that you have to have 10,000 hours to be an expert. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
So I call myself an expert volunteer because I'm very entrenched in our community. I've been volunteering since we moved to Nixa 10 years ago. And before that, even my whole life has been volunteering, ministries, nonprofits, organizations. But as the last decade has been spent building community in Nixa where we live. So I'm really involved in the PTO and working with just different roles in the district, of making sure that I'm advocating for parents and for teachers and educators in general. Even though I was homeschooled, I also spent a great deal of time in public education, but I have an international education as well. So I get to see education from a really different perspective. So learning and how people process information is really a passion of mine, because I've seen it from such a diversified background. So professionally, I went through a time about 10 years ago when my dad died. And I had graduated with a degree in psychology and biblical studies, and I was qualified to think it out and pray it out, and I could do neither one of those. And it got me stuck in the mud. And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm multi-passionate. I love building businesses. I've grown huge businesses before, and I was completely stuck and I could not figure that out. So I took a deep dive, as we do when we turn our pain into purpose, right? And I started figuring out why I was so stuck, and I discovered this nuanced space of grief and how it impacts us. And I went to a retreat because I was very, at the time, I was very compartmentalizing. Like, I'm going to go here, I'm going to feel all my feels, I'm going to put them back in the box, put the lid on, and go on with my life. That was the plan. And I was very wrong. I can say that now. I went and my sweet husband, I said, you have to come with. And he was like, why? I said, because I'm going to go through something this weekend and I don't want to have to come home and explain it to you. And I wasn't trying to be mean. I just know that there's such a difference between a lived experience, like you're about to do, and then like trying to curate that experience and telling somebody else about it, right?
Right.
And I wanted us to go on this journey together. I wanted to share that experience with him. That's where the core of community is where we have common language and shared experience. So we went to that retreat and they talked about the difference between loss and grief. And it changed the way I saw life as a whole. And I came back from that and I had spent 3 years pretty much overhauling every rock, limb, tree, grass, roots, whatever you want to call it. I looked under everything and I was like, does this area get impacted by grief? How about parenting? How about entrepreneurship? How about marriages? I could not find an area that grief had not left its fingerprint. And so I got certified as a grief specialist and I started integrating that into business coaching and parenting workshops, marriage workshops. And I started trying to help people let go of the pain of the past so that it doesn't show up and hijack their present possibilities. And that's been a driving force for me. As I say often, you won't be able to receive tomorrow's blessings if your arms are full of yesterday's broken promises. And at its core, that's what we're all carrying, is a backpack full of broken promises, a loss of hopes, dreams, and expectations. And if we can get to the heart of those conversations, talk about them honestly, then that's where transformation and breakthrough happens. And so that's what I hope to bring here is big ideas. To big ideas is, that core honest, how to have honest communication and how to have authentic communication, and then how not to define ourselves by the pain we've had, but about the possibilities of our future when we are brave enough, bold enough to turn our pain into purpose.
Mic drop.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And it works.
It does work. We've been through it. We've been through the program.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you guys, I don't want to call you out or anything, but in that you trusted me enough to take that journey with me. Both of you have. And it has forged a bond between us all that cannot be manufactured any other way, right? I mean, there are people that you've known for a lot longer than you've known me.
Right.
But in the 3 days we spent together in that intensive, you came out, we both, because part of the way we do it is I share, you share, right? And it is about authentic sharing at its core.
Right. Yes. And you make it easy. It was, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today. The past 2 years, you've had an integral part of my journey.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to embark on this journey I'm doing without not having worked with you. And I was so blessed. I've been so blessed to know you for so long, but then being scared to do that real deep work and trying everything before, like seeing therapists and trying plant medicines and all kinds of ways of healing modalities, trying to do it myself, just through grit force. And that, I think the biggest thing it did for me is it helped me recapture my bandwidth. And I feel like this is at the core of what's happening with, my philosophy, and this theme of the trip is, if we can recapture our bandwidth, like literally like a battery, it's just that a lot of us are living in fear and have a lot of grief and a lot of pain, and it's just draining our battery. And going through that process, this metaphor I always think of is, we want to cruise down the river of life in a canoe and just kind of be able to enjoy the scenery a little bit. And something bad happens, or you lose somebody special, or any number of things, a business goes wrong, and you start to get like little holes in your canoe, and pretty soon your feet start getting wet, and you're like, man, I'm still kind of enjoying the float here, but that's a little bit of a distraction. And then more things happen and more things happen. You get bigger holes, and now you're taking on so much water. Your canoe is like stuck in the middle of the river, and all the energy you have to do is just everything you have takes just
so right.
bailing water out just to stay afloat. And I feel like everybody's just staying afloat. And so hopefully the things that we'll be able to workshop together for each other through the podcast and bringing your skill set to the table and all our skill sets to the table will help people recapture the bandwidth so they can make better decisions and have more engaging relationships and be happier, healthier people.
Yeah, there's estimated that you have about 10,000 thoughts per day. So, and about 70% of those are negative. And so, even it, like that would be about 70,000 thoughts per day, right? My math is right. And so, even if you got up every day and did 500 affirmations, you wouldn't even make a dent in the negativity.
Right.
And so that's what I mean by your hearts can't receive tomorrow's blessings if they're full of yesterday's broken promises. The way forward is to clear space first and to clear up all that unfinished business emotionally, mentally, spiritually. There's not there. It touches so many areas, and my unique skill set is, yes, nuancing in that grief space and deep diving that. But what I've found over the last decade is there's so many different modalities to reconciling. People have different tools that they use, but the thing that they all have in common is they can't identify the loss that triggered the grief response. And so a lot of this work is about being able to identify what you lost in those moments, that created the protective barrier, that told you that you weren't good enough, that told you, what is that moment for you that reshaped how you thought of yourself and who you think you are and what you think is possible for your life. And then being brave enough to rewrite the script. And that's some really deep and personal work that people get to do. And it is the honor of a lifetime to get to walk with somebody through that journey of both understanding that you can be and be becoming at the same time, like they're not mutually exclusive.
Yep.
The thing I really respect about you as well, and I really, really value, is that I have immense amount of respect for women and especially to watch you work not only as an entrepreneur and really hit home runs there, but then watch you in the way that you raise your children and how present you are there, and then also in your marriage, and then also in your friendships and in your coaching. Like, quite frankly, like, I don't know how you wear all the hats so well. I know that you're human like anybody else, obviously.
That is true.
But I applaud you, and I'm like selfishly really excited for the audience to learn a lot of what I've been blessed to learn from both of you guys and your skill sets. It's going to be really cool. So,
do you want to know what my big idea is?
Yeah.
I want to have this is really bold and audacious and big. I want to have the largest platform or resource capacity for free content to help people let go of the pain of the past. Like, I don't know how that's going to happen. Everybody has to eat and live, but I have had visions of, and not to be braggadocious at all, but like everything is so, please deposit 25 cents to continue on your journey, and I just want to be able to create access to resources without the ability to pay. And that just means so much to me. Part of the work that I've created, the multiple courses and Make Your Mark to the P3 coaching, all of these have been created out of a need for myself that wasn't available to me. And so I had to create what I wish existed. And I want to be able to give that back to the world and to be able to give people access to things that's just in a state of abundance, just to give people what they need. So I hope they're able to come here to this podcast and take away encouragement and endurance. That's what I hope to give people.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful. Me too. I hope that we can be of service. And
so tell us your origin story.
Okay. I'm going to do this stream of thought.
Good.
I'm going to try very hard not to edit. So whatever comes out, comes out. I'm going to just try to go through my life from the beginning with mostly bullet points.
I love it.
Okay. I was born in Perth Amboy, New Jersey. My young birth mother, she was just 19 years old. Birth father denied it, conception, said it wasn't him. So she was left on her own, and she did the right thing. Thank you. Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you.
To that.
Thank you, Mom. She had me, in a time in the world.
What a gift you are to the world.
Yeah. Didn't always feel that way. So with as adoptions go, there's secrets and there's shame and there's embarrassment and there's lots of stuff. But I was adopted through Catholic Charities. My adopting parents, John and Jean, my parents, adopted me. I was born on March 10th. I was home with my parents on March 30th. And I grew up celebrating 2 birthdays, or the day I was born and the day I came home. I have an adopted sister as well. And so I grew my first, when I was adopted, my parents were living in Willingboro, New Jersey, Burlington County. It's a suburb of Philadelphia. My father worked for RCA. In the summer going into 3rd grade, he was transferred to Somerville, New Jersey in Hunterdon County, or Somerset County. So we moved to northern New Jersey, to a little town called Highbridge in Hunterdon County. And that's where I was raised from 3rd grade till I was graduated high school. And I was a dreamer. Here's what I didn't know then, that I only found out 2 years ago, that shaped my life, which is that I had some form of hyperactivity, ADHD or something. But I attributed a lot of who I was, what my identity was. I was adopted, but I also didn't want to talk a lot about it, because I think I was the one that was embarrassed, or I was the one that was ashamed. I was different. And as a youngster, being different isn't good.
No, it's good.
So I didn't talk a lot about it. As a family, it wasn't that we didn't talk about it. In fact, we were told, you're a family like any other family. Go be a family. I think there was that too. It was just, we're a family. We're family. So, but I kept it a secret because I was embarrassed by it. And I grew up with a tremendous amount of insecurity and feeling, inadequate and not enough. And I would have to prove myself. I had to make sure that my parents and people around me knew that I loved them. And even more importantly, knew that I needed them. Because if they knew that, what good person would send somebody away? Because I had been abandoned. I had been in my head, in my heart, in my mind, I had been abandoned. I had been rejected. I wasn't good enough. That wasn't the story. That wasn't the truth. But in my head, that's where I was. And subsequently, to just cope it all, I dreamt. And I dreamt really big. Really, really big. I wanted to be a movie star, because movies and the wonderful world of Disney had an impact on me, because there were people on the screen that were emoting and making and bringing out emotion in me, strong emotion. So I admired these people to the point of idolizing these people, and I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be a person like that could do to others what they were doing to me. Made me feel alive, and more importantly, allowed me to escape. I was able to disappear into those movies and those shows, and escape was really important. I needed to get away from my head. And so the music also had an impact. I loved music, and music was in the church that we went into. Contemporary music was once a month was in the Catholic church that I grew up in. And they would bring in a rock band that would play church songs. And I just remember being enamored by the drummer, I wanted to be a drummer. And my mother, fond memories of my mother singing the songs, and just it was joy. So as you know, I'm a Catholic boy growing up. My Catholicism, my God, my relation, they're all very important to me. I was an altar boy. But in all that way, there was angst. There was still angst in my life. And for whatever reason, I found myself escaping into, I started smoking cigarettes at a young age, and that quickly became pot, weed, or whatever you called it back in the day. And I went through a phase from seventh grade through high school where I was experimenting and figuring out life and forgotten about any path of a career. Mm-hmm. So as much as I wanted to be a rock star, a movie star, I wasn't signing up for the school plays, and I wasn't doing a garage band like that was available to me. I dabbled with all of these things. I played around with it. I was in the proximity. I show up at a band at a friend's house that would have jams, and I would sing a couple songs, and I felt amazing doing it. Mm-hmm. But I, for some reason, talked myself out of all those things, and I have a tremendous amount of I don't have disappointment because I won't allow myself to have regrets because I'm here today doing this. Mm-hmm. I've survived, but I look back on all the possibilities of what I could have done with my life, the different directions I could have gone. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen. And I understand that now. I'll get to that point here in a second. But I got into high school. By the time I was in high school and now thinking about graduating, I did a 2-year vocational course while in high school, which was in the culinary arts. We talked about food earlier. I love food. I thought I can make a career out of food. I'll be around food. That'll make me happy. I'll be a chef. I did this 2-year vocational course. And then I did my senior musical and thought, this is what I love. It took. People responded to me. I took a chance, and I did this. I got into the theater world in spite of my pothead friends and my jock friends. I didn't care in that moment. I was like, I'm going for this, and I was well received. I did well. I enjoyed it, and I thought, I'm not going to go to culinary school. I'm going to go back. I'm going to try to become that movie star. And so I moved. I moved to New York. Let's just jump to that. I toured around the country doing the children's theater troupe. When that was over, I moved to New York and tried to get a lucky break in the movie business, and I got that. And so I had a 10-year career working in movies. When not too long after I lived in 1989. I found a church, or a church found me, the International Church of Christ. And I would segment my life in these sections. There's these sections in my life. And there was growing up in New Jersey, there was New York and the church. Because a huge community was dropped in my lap, from that experience. It wasn't all great. It was there was moments that were wonderful about it. I met my ex-wife there. I met my ex-business partner there and founder of the company that I still run today. I'm CEO of. I have lots of wonderful, amazing relationships and friends from it, but then it ended, and that played into my personal relationship with God, and how I view church and some other things. But it was a great experience, again, until it wasn't. And I was so distraught at one point towards the end, or maybe it was more the middle, but I felt like I needed an outside perspective of where I was at. And it was my first foray into counseling and therapy and psychiatry, and saying, I feel really stuck. I was sad, and to the point of feeling depressed. And so I got some treatment, and sort of struggled with that for a number of years, from 98 till 2004, when I relocated from Connecticut to here. And so, I've I found my way. I had that career in movies. I later became a talent booking agent. I ran my own craft service company in the movie business, so that was my first foray into being an entrepreneur. And then I went through a period where I designed a teddy bear, a colorful teddy bear, plush teddy bear called Rainbow Friends, and it was a statement against racism and bigotry.
Oh, fun.
And but I did that all.
Sort of weird, not fun, but
meaningful. It was fun and meaningful, and I had a pretty good run, and some nice things came from it. But I did it all on credit cards, and found myself needing to get out of that debt and needing to get a real job. So I became an agent and worked for 7 years at this boutique agency in New York, and then I started my own agency, and then from that experience, I founded Gig Salad. I co-founded Gig Salad, and that's the company that as I said, I'm CEO of today, and it's been an amazing run. So through all of that, who Mark Steiner is a I've been on a journey for the better part. Let's just call it it's been my whole life, but a very, very introspective journey from about 98 until today, of lots of time in counseling, lots of time in therapy, delving into my history, my personal history, and trying to figure out who I am and whose I am. And I have a passion for mental health because I've finally found out just a little less than 2 years ago, or right at 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And now knowing what that is, knowing what the symptoms are, knowing what it does, what that condition is, my entire life makes much better sense. How I thought about myself, how I reasoned, how the good and the bad of all of it. I feel like I'm an entrepreneur and a founder of a company in part because of the ADHD. But I've I you'll learn more about me as we do this podcast. By the 500th podcast episode, you'll know a little bit more about me. And that's part of it. As I dream, and I dream big, and I'm ambitious. I'm 59 years old. I'll be going to be 60 in March, and I've never felt more youthful. I've never felt more complete. I am very, very content in my life right now. If everything was taken away, I've had an amazing run. I feel like I've been more blessed than most abundantly blessed in more ways than you can possibly imagine. And including the things that I took for granted and didn't always appreciate, didn't realize how rich and full my life has been. But I hope to accomplish, my big idea is to finally talk about myself and be able to articulate what my path has been, and hopefully give hope to others that have felt as I did throughout my life, like not feeling like there's a yin and a yang thing that went along, in that I dreamt big, so I thought my potential was huge. But then there was another side of it that was like, yeah, but lots of reasons of why something would never be or couldn't be. And I've worked through so much of that, and now I feel limitless. I feel like I'm doing more than I ever have in my life. I have startups and things that I'm working on and doing, but more than anything, I love being a creative, and I love collaborating with others and doing things, doing fun. I like doing projects, and I like doing fun things like this. Like, this is going to be fun, and I'm really going to look forward. I look forward to every week connecting with Justin as he's on the other side of the world, and connecting with you, and just having this. See how this friendship continues to blossom, and this partnership continues to blossom for the three of us. Yeah, that's it.
What I love about how you tell your story is that even though I think there's some confusion between being content and being complacent.
Mm.
And a lot of times, I think socially, we keep ourselves in a state of um, discontent. Like we always want more, 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 because we're afraid if we just let it be, that we would not be driven by anything.
Right.
And there's such a difference between feeling complete, content, and still wanting more for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do beautifully, is that you model what it's like to be content while still striving for more.
Yeah, that's
I love that.
perfectly put. That is wonderful. Yes, I do. I hope to do more. And I hope to be an inspiration for my children, for others. But at the same time, I'm content.
And Gig Salad is not like a, basement talent agency. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And what you've put into it. And I look forward to learning more about that journey of how you went from big idea to scaled national domination, Fortune 500 list.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Or is it Fortune 200 now?
Is it?
No, I wish. I wish.
I'm close enough. It will get. Yeah, it's going.
Yeah. And I look forward to telling the story. And I want to. And I look forward to hearing your stories. There's more. There's things I heard today that I never knew about either one of you. So this is great. Yeah. Stand by.
This is Big Ideas. Life is now in session. So I hope you are living intentionally with everything that you do. And what do you want to tell them?
Oh, here's the point where you want to be really profound. What's never been said before? What's not cliche? What do I want to tell y'all?
No, tell them what your thing is, your sign off. If when that's one of the things I love the most about you is your gig is.
Yeah, that is it, right? Yeah. Well, peace, love, and gigs. That is not just a phrase. It is how I try to live my life. I want to be at peace with myself and promote peace with others in this world. I've learned to finally love myself. And by that, the overflow of the love, hopefully I am loving others. And the gig part, it is your purpose. What is it that you are here to do? What is it how are you going to make a difference in this life? You don't have to question the meaning of life anymore and what your purpose is. It is you have to discover it. I hope you discover it in yourself in the way that I have in myself, and the way I think that we have too. Like here we are today, and we're doing our gig. So yeah, that's it. That's it.
You
want me to go next?
Yeah.
My goal for everyone is my purpose is I want to help everyone reconnect with themselves first and foremost. I want us all to realize that we all need the same things. We need food, water, shelter, love, community, connection. And we do this through health and wellness and movement and spirituality. And I am going to go out and find out how that's working around the world. I'm going to also share with all of you how I do it already and all this information I've amassed for a long time, over 2 decades. And I'm going to share a lot of that with you. And I hope to just continue to add value because I really care about people on the planet. And I feel like we need connection and we need clarification, clear signal through all the noise. And I hope to provide that for myself and all of you. And with your help.
Would you say it's fair that you like to help people optimize every area of their lives?
Yes. Thank you.
No, you're good at that.
That's it.
That's what you do.
That's it.
It's like everything that you do. It's one of the things I love about you is you don't do anything halfway. You live a life that's fully optimized, and you don't just tell other people what to do. I mean, you're living it, and you're This is just another layer of life that you're going to optimize and generously share with the rest of us. So I'm thrilled to see what you see.
There you are.
Thank you, guys. I couldn't do it without the two of you, and hopefully a lot of you as well.
I hope you guys come along for the ride. This is going to be exciting. We're all very, very different, but yet we share a common love for people, purpose, and possibilities. So tune in next time for the big ideas. That's a wrap, gentlemen.
We've done it. There's got to be a lot.
Check this out. It's driving me nuts. Oh yeah, it's still going. Woo, guys.
That's good, don't you think?